you've had a great career. So I just got to ask you, what is it like getting the Dick Wolf phone call? Because he has a whole universe.
Right. First of all, yeah, great to see you again. I definitely remember our conversation on the carpet, so it's always nice to reconnect on future projects like this one. What's it? I mean, Dick Wolf, I mean, that's been kind of the dream. He's the king of network television, the king of longevity. I think Law and Order has 26, 28 seasons or wherever they're at right now. So much respect to them, and it was kind of weird because I want to say I manifested this. I've always wanted to be on a Dick Wolf show. I always wanted to film and represent the West Coast. I always wanted to portray a good cop, so to speak, and not be on the other side of the interrogation table as some of my other shows. And so, all these things combined when Tim Walsh and Elliot Wolf called me for the project, I was over the moon for it, and I couldn't be more grateful to be a part of this show. The one thing that Tim Walsh really wanted to emphasize, based on his real experiences with the DET department of Long Beach PD, was the hair side. So the only thing he was very adamant about with me is that he's like, "Hey man, I gotta have your hair a certain way. It's gotta have this certain look, this certain feel." And I was cool with that. It was the easiest prep I've ever had to do for a show and for a character. And the thing that I found interesting was that it really freed me up, because a lot of times, we put on these quote unquote costumes, and that includes a lot of hair and makeup products. And by the time, you get to set, you feel a certain type of way. I've just gotten used to it, right? But literally it's so gritty. I felt gritty doing it just because I just felt like I just showed up at work and we just started rolling camera, and there wasn't that quote unquote glamorous hair and makeup element, which is so necessary on other shows. But for this one, it's about real people, real people, real police officers. I don't believe they get, their hair and makeup done before they go to the precinct or whatnot, right? So in that sense, it really helped with dialing into the character immediately, even prior to rehearsals or anything. As soon as you arrive, you're in it, you put the tactical stuff on, and you're feeding off of the other actors as well.
Well, finally, like my last question. So you are a super, super accomplished, like Asian guy. Ivy League. I mean, like you got the degrees, and then you decide, okay, I'm gonna go be an actor, and you're successful, man. You're successful in terms of being
Thank you.
Korean, being Chinese, Taiwanese, a Hong Kong, like Japanese. Like you can play the whole gamut. So I was wondering from the time where you like decided, okay, I'm gonna the academic stuff. I'm stopping. I got my degree. I'm gonna do all that stuff, and I'm gonna start acting. Like, how long did that take? Where you're like, okay, this is actually working for me because you're so accomplished. It almost feels like,
Right.
oh yeah, you quit one thing, like you said, it's like I'm gonna push that aside and do this, and the credits to start building. But I know with acting, it's not always like that. Also, being Asian, it's not always like that.
Very true. To be honest, I was kind of double dipping in law school and my MBA school. So, during that period, I was basically doing law school classes in the day, MBA classes at night, and I had this gap in my schedule, which I started trying to fill because having been, a Division I athlete, we didn't have free time in college. So now I'm in grad school, dual degree, but now I actually have the most time in my life. And so that's when I started exercising the craft and really getting into an acting studio and actually doing it just for fun. I always refer to it as kind of my yoga of that era, just because I was so academic and I had this artistic burning desire in me. So I was like, why not work it out? Why not just enroll, like start learning, start in a professional environment. And so my study of the craft actually started way earlier than when I started actually working in Hollywood, just because I never thought that was going to be the reality. And so, typical story, I graduate successfully, dual JD MBA. I get a job in downtown LA. I move back to LA to pursue that. And I was approached. I have family in the stunt business. And so I'm honoring my Koyama name. My cousin is a stunt coordinator named John Koyama. It's my Japanese side. And he kind of, basically baptized me into the industry. There was an opportunity. I took it. The fallback plan was to go back to the firm, and the rest is history. But you're right. I didn't start just booking. I really had to start all over again, right when I had finished all these academic accomplishments to hopefully have a successful 9 to 5 and a stable income. I found myself just kind of making a left at the intersection. But it was great because, I always say, you learn what you love and as long as I can wake up with a smile on my face and excitement, that is what I want. And that's actually what I got from being in the entertainment industry. And so, again, it hasn't been an overnight thing, definitely not. I'm super blessed to be where I'm at. The journey has been more than I ever could have imagined, and with that comes maturity and a lot of gratitude. But I definitely use all those tools in my craft. Nothing goes to waste. And I'm grateful that I was able to experience all of those different things prior to entering the industry.